In this video we're going to be exploring the question, what is the Roman Empire? Our learning intention for this session is to discover the background of the Roman Empire. Our success criteria will be to identify aspects of the Roman Empire, describe different aspects of the Roman Empire, and to conduct independent research on the Roman Empire. So, how did Rome begin? There's a very famous story about the beginning of Rome, which is told. It's a myth called the myth of Romulus and Remus. According to the legend, Rome was founded by the twin brothers Romulus and Remus, who were the sons of the Roman god Mars. As babies, the boys were left to drown in the river Tiber by their evil uncle, but they were rescued by a wolf. When the boys were older, they took revenge on their uncle and killed him. Afterwards, the twins decided to start a new city, but they squabbled about where to build it. Romulus wanted to build it on the Palatine Hill, and Remus preferred the Aventine Hill. To find out who was right, they looked for a sign from the gods. However, they couldn't agree on that either, and both thought the gods were favouring them. One day, the twins got in a fight after Remus made fun of Romulus. Remus was killed, and Romulus named the new city Roma after himself. So that is the story that people are told on how Rome came to begin. When was the Roman Empire? So ancient Rome began in 753 BC, around 753 BC. Ancient Rome, however, became the Roman Empire in 31 BC. So after around 700 years, the ancient Rome became the Roman Empire when Augustus Caesar made himself the Emperor of Rome. The Roman Empire ended in 476 AD. So that is the timeline of ancient Rome to Roman Empire to the end of Roman Empire. Where was the Roman Empire? So on the screen you should be able to see a map of the Roman Empire in 117 AD. This is when it is at its largest. So this is Britain over here, and then down here you've got Italy. This is Rome, the city of Roma. So originally Rome was just made up of the territory around Italy and Rome. However, as time went on, the empire began to expand. So they expanded into Europe, into modern-day Germany, France, Spain, Portugal. As we know, conquering England and Wales as well, as far up as Scotland with the Hadrian's Wall. Also, parts of the north of Africa. So down around Egypt as well, and then we've got Turkey, Greece, and then parts of the Silk Roads that we've been looking at as well, all under the control of the Roman Empire. So massive, massive empire, one of the most powerful empires in history up to that point. So who ruled the Roman Empire? In the early days, when it was ancient Rome was ruled by kings. Romulus, who was one of the boys from the story we looked at earlier, was supposedly the first king. The last king was a man named Tarquin the Proud. He ruled until 509 BC, when the people of Rome drove him out. Rome then became a republic. So a republic didn't allow one person to have complete control of the city. Instead, a group of men called senators shared power. A little bit like an early form of government, where they're getting together and deciding together what they want to happen. As the Roman Republic grew more and more powerful, so did its army. The senators could not always control the army, and sometimes they clashed and had arguments with the generals. In 49 BC, Rome's greatest general was Julius Caesar. He had complete control of the army, but he wanted to rule Rome like a king again. So he wanted to return Rome back to when it had kings. Some senators didn't like this, and they murdered him in 44 BC. But it was too late. Julius Caesar had changed Rome. A few years later, his adopted son Octavius took power and became the first emperor of Rome as Augustus Caesar. So, Romans had lots of different beliefs. to do with religion, they believed in lots of different gods and goddesses. They didn't just have one god. These were gods for almost everything. It's like thunder, love, war, wisdom, even the sewer in Rome. Lots of different aspects of life have a different god or goddess which is in charge of them, so to speak. The Romans were always trying to keep God on their sides and keep the gods happy. They made offerings at temples and shrines to make them happy. So if you wanted to make the god of war happy before you go off to battle, you would go off and make an offering at that temple. They also borrowed new gods from the people they conquered, like the goddess Isis from Egypt. Some emperors were even declared gods too, usually after they died. They hoped this would make emperors even more powerful and respected. Later on, though, the Romans became Christians. Christianity was made the official religion of the Roman Empire by the Emperor Constantine in the 4th century AD. So you remember we looked at Emperor Constantine last week. He converted to Christianity, and then he very famously, the city of Constantinople in Turkey, named after him. So, what you're going to do with that information today is you're going to create a time traveller travel guide. So you're going to imagine that you're a holiday company which sells trips back in time. Today you need to advertise and promote a holiday to visit the Roman times. So you're going to create a brochure, a leaflet or a poster. It's up to you. It will need to include information about how Rome began, when it was, where it was and what Romans believed in. There's an extra challenge to include what Romans did for entertainment. That's something we didn't include in today's session, so you'll have to do some independent research to add that into yours. Your brochure will need to be informative, so have lots of information. It'll need to be colourful to try and make it stand out. It'll have to be persuasive to persuade people to go on holiday. And it'll need to have images. You can create this either by hand or on the computer. So you can do a digital version or you can do one by hand. It's entirely up to you. Either way, you need to submit it through Teams. And if you're not sure how to do that, remember there is a video on my channel explaining how to do it. So regardless of whether it's by hand or through the computer, you'll be able to submit it through Teams. There's your task. Off you go.